Welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute devotional podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse. Broadcast from the ever-beautiful Sharonville, Ohio, on the sunny side of Cincinnati. Hey, welcome back to Daily Dose Radio. This is your home for organic Bible study that's fresh and delicious, prepared for you every single day. And ladies and gentlemen, let me just encourage you to join me, please, next week, because we'll be studying Psalm 150, and we will have reached the end of our 4-year Bible study journey through the Psalms, 5 minutes a day, 5 days a week, verse by verse. We've studied the entire Psalter. And after next week, let's see, on the 20th of March, we'll just start it right all over again. Actually, the 20th of March is an anniversary for us. I began broadcasting Daily Dose Radio on the 21st of March, but actually on the 20th of March, I sent up a test run and asked some friends of mine to listen to it and see what they thought. And then after they responded, I just decided to jump right in. The water was fine, and got into podcasting. I've been doing it for 4 years now. So if you'll join me next week, we'll come to the close of our 4-year journey and start all over again on the 20th of March, starting to look at the Psalms again, verse by verse, 5 minutes a day, 5 days a week, beginning with Psalm number 1. Today we're concluding Psalm 149, and Psalm 149 gives us something of it's a little surprise. Actually, it's beautiful in its creation, in its position in the Psalter, because what we have here to end verses 8 and 9, the ending of Psalm 149, and I would like to read that for you today from my translation. To bind their kings with fetters, and their nobles with fetters of iron, to execute on them the judgment written. It is the honor of all his saints. As I said, this is beautifully positioned, and it's just right in time for the end of the Psalms, and so we're going to look today at these last two verses, 8 and 9, but we're going to look at them in conjunction with something was said in Psalm 2. In Psalm number 2, we have this: Why do the heathen rage, and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, Let us break their bands asunder, and cast away their cords from us. They've escaped, in a sense. They have denied the Lord's place as King and Lord of all things, and denied his word. And when it says here they broke the bands asunder, they're breaking from God's way, his restriction, his rule, and his wisdom. So now we come to Psalm 149, and we hear this: to bind their kings with fetters and their nobles with fetters of iron, or bands of iron. So we come back to the recapturing of the nations. And this is something that's going to take place in the future, because what we have in Psalm 2 is actually the state of affairs now. Kings of the earth and the nobles have broken the bands asunder. They're going their own way. But there's going to come a day when the people of God will bring them under subjection. Notice what it says there in verse 9. To execute on them the judgment written. And in Psalm 2, we have this beginning in verse 7. I will declare the decree. The Lord shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron. Thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. So we have the promise, the decree given by the Lord, which is the judgment written there in verse 9. It is the honor of all his saints. So this promise is going to be fulfilled. All these heathen are going to be brought into subjection. And then we have this admonition in 2, Be wise now therefore, O ye kings, and be instructed, ye judges of the earth. Serve the Lord with fear and rejoicing, and rejoice with trembling. Psalm 149, we have the end of the matter that was begun in Psalm 2. A beautiful way to end this psalm, and isn't it fitting that it comes to end at the same place where Psalm 2 began? One psalm removed from the end, just like Psalm 2 was one psalm removed from the beginning. Please join me Next week, we're going to look at Psalm 150. Don't want to miss out on the last psalm in our travels. 4 years in the Psalter, studying verse by verse. Join me then on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. I'm David Smith. The music today has been performed by the Bluegrass Experiment. Thanks again for listening. I'll see you next time on Daily Dose Radio.